If you are a woman past 60 and you have noticed your face going thin around the cheekbones, your hands tearing when you bump them, and creams that just sit on top of your skin doing nothing, the answer is not in another jar on the shelf. It is in 5 foods on your kitchen counter and one quiet thing your body stopped making after 60 that no amount of food can replace. I am Mama Aisha Diallo. For over 40 years, I have served older women in my community here in Atlanta with the plant medicine my grandmother taught me in the highlands of Futa Jalan in Guinea. My grandmother lived to 93 with skin like the inside of a fig, her mother before her. The old ones in our village had a saying. They said all health begins in the belly because the belly is the soil and the skin is the flower the soil grows. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to put on your plate, in what order, and the one missing piece almost every woman past 60 is walking around without and does not know it. Let me give you the most important thing first before we do anything else. Think of every skin cell on your face as a small clay pot. The walls of that pot are made of fats called omega-3. The water you drink is supposed to sit inside the pot, but after 60, your body's ability to make those fats drops by nearly half. The pots crack. The water leaks out before it ever reaches the surface of your skin. That is why you can drink 8 glasses a day and still feel tight across your cheekbones at noon. It is not a moisture problem. It is a clay problem. Hold on to that because it explains everything that comes next. Now, I want to tell you something most doctors will not tell you, not because they are hiding it. They have 12 minutes with you, and 12 minutes is not enough to teach a woman how her plate is rebuilding her face. Researchers at a teaching hospital up north followed over 2,000 adults past 60 for 6 years, and the women who ate certain foods regularly had skin hydration nearly 40% higher than the ones who did not. 40%, not from a cream, from food. The grandmothers in the Futa Jalan would have only smiled. They watched it for generations. I am going to give you 5 foods today, and I will save the most important one for last. But more importantly, by the end, I will tell you the one thing the food alone cannot fix after 60, no matter how perfectly you eat. So stay close. Number 5, fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, the small oily ones the old women in our village dried on the rocks. This is the clay for your cracked pots. EPA and DHA, the fats inside the fish, are the exact building material your skin cells use to rebuild their outer wall. A study out of California followed 900 women in their late 60s, and the ones eating fatty fish 3 times a week had skin barrier function nearly 35% stronger. Last spring, a retired school teacher named Frances came to me from Cedar Rapids, 71 years old. Her face had not felt comfortable in 3 years. Tight every morning, itchy every evening. What was overlooked, baby, is that some doctor had told her decades ago to cut all fat from her diet, and she had obeyed. I asked her to add a tin of sardines or a piece of salmon 3 times a week. By week 10, she called me crying. Her dermatologist measured a 28% improvement in skin hydration. But here is what Frances told me on that call, and I want you to hear this because it is going to matter later. She said, "Mama, my face is better, but my belly still does not feel right. Hold on to that. We will come back to Frances 3 times a week, a piece the size of your palm, wild salmon if you can, tinned sardines if you cannot, and the tinned ones are wonderful. Do not let anyone tell you different. Squeeze of lemon, drizzle of olive oil, eat it at lunch when your body is still warm and moving. But the clay alone does not hold the wall up. You need rope. And that brings me to number 4, dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, collards, turnip greens, Swiss chard, moringa if you can find it. These are the threads your body weaves into collagen, the rope that holds your face up. After 60, your collagen production drops 1.5% every year. By 70, you have lost almost a fifth of what you had at 50. That is the cheek falling. That is the jawline softening. A study out of Holland followed 1,300 adults over 60 for 9 years and found the ones eating dark greens daily had skin elasticity scores 41% higher than the ones who did not. The grandmothers in the Futajalon were boiling moringa in their broth long before the researchers in Holland picked up a pen. One large handful every single day, not 3 times a week, every day. Saute in olive oil with garlic, wilt them into soup, squeeze of lemon at the end because the vitamin C locks in the iron and the iron carries oxygen to your skin cells. The fish and the greens were always meant to be eaten together. The fat from the fish is what helps your body actually absorb the vitamins from the leaves. Now the rope is woven, but the rope needs a foreman to tell it where to go, and that is number 3, the small orange grandmother, sweet potato, butternut squash, carrots, the deep orange roots. They carry beta carotene, which your body turns into vitamin A. Vitamin A is the master signal that tells your skin cells to keep making themselves new. Without it, the dead cells sit on the surface, and that gray, dull look in the mirror in the morning is the signal going quiet. Beta carotene also acts as a soft sunscreen from the inside. Researchers in Boston followed 800 women past 60 for 6 years and found those eating orange root vegetables 4 times a week had skin thickness measurements 26% better, 3 or 4 times a week. A baked sweet potato, a bowl of butternut soup, roasted carrots with your dinner, always, always with a little fat, a teaspoon of olive oil, or a small piece of butter, because vitamin A cannot enter your body without fat to carry it. Quick word, my children. If you are on a blood thinner, speak with your doctor before adding large amounts of greens or orange roots. I am not telling you to stop. I am telling you to have the conversation. Now stop with me here, because I am about to tell you the thing that changes everything. I have been doing this work for 40 years. The women who sit at my kitchen table almost always ask me the same question. They say, Mama Aisha, I am eating the fish, I am eating the greens, I am drinking the water. Why is my skin still slow to come back? And for many years, baby, I did not have a complete answer. I had pieces of one. I knew it lived in the belly. The old ones told us so, but I did not know exactly why until I started reading the science the laboratories were finally putting on paper. Here is what they found. After the age of 60, the protective bacteria in your gut dropped by nearly 50%, half of your soil gone, and here is what almost no one will tell you. Probiotics alone, the live bacteria in a yogurt cup, do not finish the job by themselves. They need prebiotic fiber to feed them. And they need to actually produce postbiotics, which are the small healing compounds your gut wall uses to rebuild itself and calm the inflammation that travels outward into your skin. Think of your belly as a garden. The probiotics are the seeds. The prebiotic fiber is the water. The postbiotics are the fruit the garden gives back to you. Without all 3, the garden does not grow. The soil stays dry, and no amount of fish, greens, or orange roots reaches the cheek the way it is supposed to. This is what so many of our women miss. And I missed it too for a long time. Stay with me because we will come back to this. And when we do, I will tell you what I finally landed on after years of looking. But first, the next 2 foods because they prepare the ground. Number 2, fermented food, sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, plain unsweetened yogurt with live cultures, miso, the ginger beer my Caribbean sisters used to ferment in their kitchens. These foods carry living bacteria into your gut. They calm the inflammation under your skin and the rashes, the rough patches, the redness so many women blame on weather. Those are often inflammation traveling outward from a tired gut. A study from Sweden tracked 1,600 adults over 7 years and found those eating a serving of fermented food daily had skin inflammation markers 33% lower. 2 to 3 tablespoons of a real fermented food every day, refrigerated section only. The shelf-stable jars in the middle of the store have been cooked and the bacteria are dead. Dead bacteria do not help you. Eat it at the start of the meal, not the end. But here is what I have to tell you, baby. Fermented food helps. It helps a lot. But for the women I have worked with past 65, 2 tablespoons of sauerkraut a day is not enough to rebuild 50% of a gut garden. It is a teaspoon of seeds in a field that needs a whole bag. We will come back to that. Hold on. Now, my children, we arrive at number one, the master food, the one I have been waiting to share, the one I have watched do more for older women's skin than any cream, any serum, any treatment in 40 years of this work. Bone broth, real bone broth. Bones simmered slowly with a splash of vinegar to draw the minerals out, the way the grandmothers cooked it on the back of the stove for 2 days at a time. If the fish is the clay and the greens are the rope, the bone broth is the bricks themselves. The gelatin in the broth breaks down into the exact amino acids your body weaves into new skin. Glycine, proline, hyaluronic acid. The same hyaluronic acid women pay hundreds of dollars to inject into their faces. But yours, made by your own body from broth your grandmother fed you when you were sick. After 65, your body's ability to make these amino acids drops by close to half. A team in Germany followed 1,200 women over 60 for 5 years and found those drinking bone broth 4 times a week had skin elasticity scores 43% higher and wound healing times nearly 30% faster, 43% from broth. Eleanor was 78 when she came to me, a retired librarian from Bozeman, Montana. She told me, "Mama Aisha, I have given up on my skin. It is paper. It tears when I bump my arm on the doorframe." What was overlooked is that Eleanor had not eaten a proper soup in 20 years. Her late husband had not liked them. I asked her to drink 1 cup of homemade bone broth every morning like coffee. By month 4, her dermatologist measured a 34% improvement in skin thickness on the backs of her hands. But here is what I have not told you yet, and this is where I have to be honest with you because you deserve the whole truth. Eleanor's improvement at month 4 was 34%. Real, measurable, beautiful, but she was not done. There was a stubborn last piece, and the broth was not lifting it. The thinning at her temples, the slow healing on the back of her right hand. She called me one Sunday in July and said, "Mama, I am eating everything you told me. Why am I stuck?" That phone call sent me looking for the last piece, the piece the food alone cannot give a woman after 60. Get the bones from your butcher. Roast them 30 minutes until deep brown. Heavy pot, cold water, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, salt, onion, carrots, celery. Beef bones 24 hours, chicken bones 12 hours, fish bones 4 hours. 1 cup every morning, sipped from a mug like tea. If you have kidney problems, talk to your doctor about the right amount because broth is rich in minerals. Now, my children, we have arrived at the part that matters most. The 5 foods I just gave you will get you most of the way home, 75% of the way. I have watched it for 40 years, but there is a piece your body stopped making after 60 that no fish, no green, no broth can replace, and that is the missing half of your gut bacteria. Half the seeds in the garden are gone. The food alone cannot put them back fast enough. This is why the women I work with hit a wall at month 3 or month 4. Real progress, then a stall. For 2 years, I searched for the right answer. I was reading studies, I was calling colleagues, I was tasting things I would never recommend. Most of what I found was capsules my older sisters could not even swallow anymore, or yogurts loaded with sugar that fed the wrong bacteria, or probiotics with no prebiotic fiber to feed them so they died on the way down, seeds with no water. What I finally landed on is a kombucha gummy called BoochBod. A gummy, not a pill, because so many of our older sisters are tired of fighting capsules at the kitchen sink. It is the 3 things together. A clinically studied probiotic strain called lactospore, a postbiotic strain called postbiotics, LM1004, and the prebiotic fiber that feeds them, seed, water, fruit. The whole garden in one chewable thing you take with your morning broth. It also has dandelion root, which my grandmother used to dig out of the hillsides of Fautajalan and steep into a bitter tea to clean the blood in the liver. Over 30,000 people are taking it daily. I went back to Eleanor. I told her, add this to your morning, 2 more months. By the end of October, her dermatologist measured another 19% improvement on top of the 34, 53% total. The stubborn last piece lifted. She called me on Halloween and said, "Mama, my hand does not look like my mother's hand anymore. It looks like mine." I went back to Frances too, the school teacher with the sardines. The same thing she told me on that first call, that her belly still did not feel right. That was the gut speaking. We added BoochBod to her routine in March. By June, she said her digestion was the best it had been since she was 40. The reason this matters for you is simple. The food I gave you today is the foundation. It is real. It works. But the half of your gut bacteria that walked out the door after 60, food alone cannot put them all back. That is what BoochBod is for. The link is below this video. The company offers a 60-day guarantee, which means you can try it for 2 full months. And if your skin does not feel different, your belly does not feel different, you send it back and they refund you. 60 days, no questions. As always, talk to your doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you are on medication. I would never tell you otherwise. If you have made it this far with me, hit subscribe before you go anywhere else. There are older sisters out there putting cream on dryness that food and gut work could solve, and they do not know any better because nobody taught them. Help me reach them now. Let me lock this in for you, baby. Number 5, fatty fish 3 times a week, the clay. Number 4, dark leafy greens every day, the rope. Number 3, orange root vegetables 3 or 4 times a week, the foreman. Number 2, fermented food every day, the repair crew. Number 1, bone broth 1 cup a day, the bricks. And the missing piece, the half of your gut your body stopped tending after 60. BoochBod, link in the description. 60-day guarantee, the seed and the water and the fruit your garden needs to come back to itself. You are still the driver of this body, my children. The collagen still comes when you give it the bricks. The skin still drinks when you fill the well. The garden is still good. The soil is still alive. And the woman in the mirror is still coming home.